back to the Rantin Review Pro Wrestling, and this is a news break. We're catching up on some of the news items going around in the world of pro wrestling and sports entertainment. Of course, tonight is Wednesday. You know what that means. It's AEW Dynamite tonight, and the return of Kota Ibushi to All Elite Wrestling. Of course, he made his official return on this past week's edition of AEW Collision. I figured this was going to happen. I hope this was going to happen to involve Ibushi in the storyline between Kazuchika Okada and Kenny Omega heading in to All in Texas. Of course, Ibushi, for those of you who are not familiar with the history of New Japan Pro Wrestling, Kota Ibushi and Kenny Omega have a very tight relationship. They are known as the Golden Lovers. The implications are all there. Probably one of the most dramatic reunions of all time I've seen in my 40 years of being a wrestling fan. Happened several years ago. Ironically enough, during Kenny's feud with Cody Rhodes, when Ibushi and Omega finally reunited. Probably one of the most heartwarming, most fan favorite moments from the recent golden era of New Japan Pro Wrestling. Well, Ibushi is back. He'll be taking on Trent Beretta, familiar faces. This is pretty much all of 2010's New Japan has been transferred over to AEW. That match will happen tonight on Dynamite. I'm going to be curious to see what the Don Callis family has in mind. This storyline, I think, for those of us who are New Japan fans from back in 5, 6, 7 years ago, this is pretty cool. We're seeing it all come together. Don Callis being involved, a lot of the old New Japan regulars from that time period being involved, Ibushi being involved. I love the angle they did with Omega, even though as disgusting as it was, and the implied injury to his intestines and him spitting up blood, which looked gross as hell the other week on Dynamite. So tonight's going to be a very key Dynamite to see where that goes. And I'm just happy to see Ibushi's back. He looks in far better shape than when he returned the other year when he injured his ankle. I think it was last January. So Ibushi looks like he's ready to go. We might have another run of Kota Ibushi. AEW fans, you're not really familiar with Ibushi. I haven't seen Ibushi murder face in a long time, so I hope to see it again pretty soon. Over in the WWE land, there's been some questions. Corey Graves has been doing commentary on Raw with Michael Cole, and the question is, why has Pat McAfee been off WWE television? Well, he said, I won't be on commentary tonight, just taking some time to catch up on life. Between Money in the Bank and Night of Champions feels like the window right now, or the right window. I was starting to feel pretty exhausted. Big shout out to everyone in WWE for looking out for me. I'm very grateful. So apparently he's just taking a break from doing, I mean, look, think about it like this. That's travel involved with him. McAfee's a very big guy. He's got his own enterprise, his own show and everything else to run. So it is big, and all the energy he puts into it and having to keep up with storylines and everything else, it's a lot. So, him taking a break. Corey Graves, of course, pretty happy about this because he gets to be involved. Other WWE news going on. We have a Hall of Famer reportedly stepping away from wrestling for good. And yes, it is the hardcore legend, so to speak, Mick Foley, who, Foley, he's come back and he's been in and out here and there, but he definitely says he's taken a step back. He loves hanging out with a lot of the guys and teaching young guys, him and Devon Dudley. They actually have a pretty funny YouTube channel. You should check it out. Mick is, even though he is, he definitely is loyal to WWE. He doesn't, he's not one of these former WWE guys that just carries the water for the company. He will praise other companies and he will criticize WWE when they do something he doesn't like, or he doesn't think is right. So Foley is probably one of the few legends I actually care to listen to. WWE and the TKO merger probably not going to be over anytime soon, as UFC star Michael Chandler might be signing with WWE. Now, we all expected this to happen, that eventually you're going to get some more crossovers. There are going to be some retired UFC people who will come over to WWE. I'm not so sure about WWE guys trying to go into the UFC. The last time, Brock was the exception. CM Punk I've seen on many lists of UFC fans, of which I used to be heavy in the UFC. Not as much in the UFC as I used to be during the days of George St. Pierre and Anderson Silva, but I still follow UFC, and still to this day, the worst UFC fighter in history is listed as CM Punk. So I don't know if there's too much of that going back and forth. Now, Chandler seems to understand that he's probably going to come in with some heat, because WWE fans are very resistant to outsiders getting into wrestling. Look at Logan Paul, look at Ronda Rousey, and so on and so forth. So he's aware of that, and I think Triple H is aware of that, and they're probably going to introduce him, hopefully in a better way than they have in the past with some of these guys. Vince Russo, bro, he says John Cena's pipe bomb showed how bad everyone else is. The quote is, "You saw the difference when they even go anywhere near reality in the John Cena promo. It's night and day. It's night and day compared to the rest of the crap they put on these shows. It's night and day." Man, that man repeats himself more than I do. And I haven't said at the end of the day yet, until just then in this video. But Russo, again, I am not a big fan of Vince Russo. Every once in a while, he has a good insight on the things. I think his insight on the Wyatt Six stuff was excellent, and it turned out to be true. What he said about the Wyatt Six, that it was a limited angle, that in WWE land, if it's in wrestling, it's going to be hard for that to go anywhere. But if this was in the movies, it'd be a bit different. But he likes Cena's promo. I like Cena's promo. I've said it many times. He just said a lot of stuff that I said in a nicer way. John Cena said it about a particular wrestler from Chicago. I know this sounds like a CM Punk bashing session. I don't want to bash the guy too much, but that pipe bomb needed to be said. And I think a lot of WWE fans like that pipe bomb too. It's a shift in wrestling. It is a shift in the WWE wrestling landscape, nonetheless, at least. And I think that with the current era, the way things are with the WWE fan base, something like this needed to be said. This is not only kind of, obviously CM Punk was fine with the promo, otherwise he wouldn't have done it, he would have pitched a fit or whatever. But I do think it is not so much about going after WWE. To some extent, it's going after the rest of the roster and how they're kind of resting on their laurels from the last couple of years of them being hot, and maybe somewhat of a shot at wrestling outside of WWE. But, it's fine. WWE is not the only ones who are doing some stuff in reality and getting some former competitive sports athletes in their ranks. New Japan Pro Wrestling announced that Olympic gold medalist Judokan Aaron Wolf, if I'm pronouncing that correct, we'll just call him Aaron Wolf. Aaron Wolf is now with New Japan Pro Wrestling. I'm not sure if he's in the Young Lions program or not, but this is a big signing for them. They need somebody in there to kind of stir things up. Okada, who has left, they even comment on it here, he was a track star. New Japan had a lot of very good athletes. Bolton Oleg's a great athlete as well. Kitamura, who unfortunately passed away, he was supposed to be this guy, but this guy is a judo champion, and he's pretty damn, I've seen some of his fights, he's pretty good. And his quote here is, "If I'm going to do pro wrestling, where is the best place to do it?" Okada, replied, "If you want to learn pro wrestling from scratch, New Japan Pro Wrestling is the place to be. Those words also helped me make this decision." So Okada, even though he's not in New Japan anymore, because I assume they can't afford him anymore, and he's in AEW, Okada's still looking out for New Japan. Kind of cool to see that, and him suggesting to Aaron Wolf, if you want to get into wrestling, don't go to WWE, don't go to AEW. If you want to learn how to really do this thing, New Japan, and I would agree with this, New Japan, if you start your career in New Japan, you pretty much, and you're a Westerner or just a really good wrestler who wants to eventually go elsewhere or do other stuff, New Japan is a great place to learn. Number one, it's one of the few major league companies in the world outside of WWE. You're going to get a lot of exposure. If you're good, you're going to get a cult rabid following and a fan base is going to follow you anywhere. And when the bigger boys, unfortunately, number 2 and number 1 in the world, WWE and AEW, come looking, they're going to be throwing a lot of money at you. So it's a good spot for him to get into. And I agree with Okada. The best place to learn from scratch, New Japan Pro Wrestling. And that's the big news stories for today as we catch up here on June 25th, 2025. I want to know what you guys think about these news items. Let your voice be heard in the comment box below. I am also considering going back to on-camera videos. I'm taking a poll of some of my subscribers here. If you guys want me to do more on-camera videos as opposed to these graphic-based videos. Let me know in the comment box below which one you prefer. And until next time, I will see you guys here as we continue to talk about the crazy and wild world of pro wrestling right here on a Rant and Review Pro Wrestling. Have a good day.